What's up, people? I may get a lot of blowback for this particular video, but I have to speak on it. It has to be said. One of the biggest benefits, or one of the biggest things that I've realized by abstaining from watching porn and masturbating to ejaculation, is that I've regained a bit of my innocence. I've regained a bit of my integrity and self-respect. Now, this may seem very foreign, the correlation I'm trying to make. For men, this may be very foreign. But when I was a part of the porn and jerk off culture, it seemed like every sexy woman I saw, I had to fucking jerk off to. It's this weird thing. And I know I'm not alone in this, even if I'm the only one to admit it. Now, I probably didn't jerk off as much as, the worst, but I've had my fair share of jerk offs, I can tell you that. And, it made a bit of a monster out of me, a lust monster. Everything had to be about sex. And the fact that our dicks get hard regularly doesn't mean we have to necessarily make everything about sex. Always have pussy on the mind. And I think a lot of that was triggered from the porn world. If you don't have a sex addiction outside of porn, then I feel like a lot of that is triggered by porn. Now, I definitely have the right to speak on this. As much porn and as much porn as I've seen, and as many times as I've jerked off, so I can say this without any fear of blowback. Is that after separating myself from it, I haven't masturbated all year, and I've been practicing semen retention since end of January, and I haven't watched porn all year, except for I watched porn like last week or so, because somebody on Facebook was uploaded her own, so I was just like, well, I'm kind of curious, it's a Facebook friend, but I didn't jerk off or anything like that. I just saw like 5 minutes and I got off. But what I noticed after abstaining from it all is that I'm not triggered to jerk off every time I see a sexy woman. When I see a sexy woman, I see a sexy woman. Okay, I still love women. I still like to look at them, and I still do the things that other men do, where it's just like, oh my God, look what I see. But it's taking the creep out of me. I don't feel the need to lust over women in a sense where I have to hold an image in my mind and then go jerk off. And also, it also puts me in a position, I'm in a relationship right now, but if I weren't in a relationship, I'm now in a position where if I don't have sex, then I'm not ejaculating. Well, I'm not ejaculating anyway, but if I were if I were ejaculating and things like that, the only way I can get off is through the pursuit of a woman. And we've lost a lot of our pursuit because we just jerk off, and now we got no hunt in us. We got no fight in us. Or it definitely tempers it. And it also, porn gives us unrealistic expectations and things like that. We expect things to happen so fast. And it builds up a bit of an entitlement, especially when we get into the bedroom and we expect to perform, or we expect women to perform what we saw on the videos. But I'm kind of dancing all over the place. But the biggest thing that I noticed about myself is that I'm starting to look at women. I've been looking at women as something completely different now. And I know this might be a phenomenon, but I'm starting to look at them as if they are human beings. And my friends, if you really want a woman to appreciate you and to form a great attraction towards you, if you really want them on your side, seeing them for who they really are is one of the biggest factors, and one of the biggest determining factors in that. And women are not fools. They can sense your motives before you even know them. You know? They can sense a dog from a couple miles away. They can tell from the conversation how this is going to go. But you take somebody like myself, and I'm not a ladies' man. I don't know if I attract a lot of women. I'm kind of naive in that sense. But you take someone like myself, and I'm talking to a woman. She may say something that opens up the door for an innuendo, sexual innuendo. Boom. You know, we're going back and forth. I'm not quick to ask her for a number. I may not even ask her for a number. I might even ask her name. You know, boom. I'm not looking up and down at her. You know, like I said, I like to look at titties. I like to look at ass. But when I'm talking to somebody, when I'm talking to a woman, I'm looking her in her eyes. I value her opinion. I want to speak on things that have nothing to do with sex and relationships and things like that. Women appreciate that. Now, granted, I know how you can end up in the friend zone. I have great experience with the friend zone. So I know how not to get myself in that situation if that's not where I want to be. But also, I don't necessarily care. So the fact that I don't care is a benefit in itself. I hold no expectations. You hold expectations. That forms a bit of entitlement, okay? You're not entitled to any woman on this earth. Not a single one. You're not entitled to your wife. She may wake up tomorrow and just have a change of heart, and that's it. You're not entitled to her. On paper, you are in a sense, but still, it's her body, it's her life, it's her rules. But if you start to treat women like the humans that they are, like the geniuses that they are, they appreciate you more for that. So through all this process, so I also meant to say, so when you're not jerking off at the sight of a woman, and you know, obviously we understand that sex doesn't always happen as fast as turning on Pornhub or whatever the fuck it is. What happens is our sex drive is getting boosted. You know, our sex drive is being boosted by the sight of a woman, the smell, her voice, the whole package. So what we do with this boost in our sex drive, we become more creative. Now we know, hopefully you know by now, I know that sexual energy and creative energy is somewhat synonymous. So what you do with that boost in your sex drive is that you create better work, more sensual. You know, it has more oomph to it, more impact. And that's a benefit in itself if you love to create. And brings out your bravado. And although you may not get that woman that attracted you in the first place, you may get other women for being so focused on your craft and putting your sexual energy into it. Make no mistake about it. I had this theory for a long time. I think, and I don't know, maybe it's out there, but Prince Prince was a player. You know, he got called gay and bisexual, all types of things. But he had women. And there was definitely a lot of sexual undertones to his music, to his style. I mean, goddamn, he got a picture of him with 2 women on top of him. But I often wondered if he was practicing semen retention. You know, if he had women around him to boost up his sex drive, because it's very important. I mean, it's very powerful to boost your sex drive, to have sexy women around you, to have feminine energy around you in general, which is what Gandhi did. Now, I don't want to speak too much on Gandhi because he's very controversial, and I'm not necessarily a fan of him. But one thing that I do know is that he did keep virgins. He kept virgins in the bed with him. He kept women in the bed with him. So I'm not necessarily saying you go find some virgins and keep them in bed with you or what have you. Because there's a lot of shit about his story that I just... no thank you. So I'm definitely not promoting Gandhi. But that doesn't mean that the man didn't know something. And he knew a lot of something. But keeping, just having that whole sexual energy thing about you, it's very good for your creations. Now, you may see us having a sexy woman around you who isn't giving you any play or whatever as a bad thing. But let me introduce something to you. All women know when they're around a goddamn man who they aren't related to, chances are that man wants to fuck. How do you think they would respond to a man who just wants them around for their energy? And they can really buy into that. On both sides. The man truly believes that and the woman truly believes that. That's a culture shock. That would be intriguing to women in itself. Now, I'm not one for ulterior motives, but I understand how things go when you take the road less traveled. All right? Women are like, they might be a little thrown off initially, but they're like, damn, he doesn't want to fuck me. And then here come the questions. Well, damn, am I ugly? She might not outwardly say that. She might be thinking that, though. Am I ugly? Or then she might ask you, why don't you want to have sex with me? You get women into asking questions and shit like that. You have put yourself in a pretty good position. Whatever that position is, I'll leave that up to you. But you have put yourself in a pretty interesting position. And also, it opens up the gates for you to have more of just women friends. That's not necessarily the case for me right now. I don't spend a lot of time around women. I spend time around my child's mom. And, she boosts my sex drive. So that's how I'm able to say these things. But for so long, because she kept me I was in a friend zone for about 4 years with her. I was the former example where every time she was around, I had my ulterior motives. I was trying to find a way for sex to happen, but I was so fearful, and she wasn't having it. My game wasn't tight, and she could sense that I wanted to have sex with her. According to her, she wanted to have sex with me too, but she didn't want to ruin our relationship, which basically means my game just wasn't tight, for real. But anyway, as I started practicing semen retention, that's one thing I definitely wanted to do was to just have more women around me. It's like an energetic thing, and I feel like, and I wanted women with a lot of feminine energy around and force me to be more masculine. Okay, and because that's one thing that I noticed with a lot of relationships is that people trying to play a little even field thing and that's why, for many reasons, but this is why a lot of relationships don't work out, is because y'all trying to play similar roles, and the yin and was it the yin and yang, or the yin and yang of it all is out of whack. You gotta have the masculine energy with a little feminine in it. You gotta have the feminine energy with a little masculine. You know what I'm saying? And I think you gotta have a little bit in you, just a little bit of the opposite in you, just in case you need to bring it out. You gotta have a little bit in you for fear of it being hyper, whatever that is. And I could really break down hypermasculinity, but that's a different conversation, because I don't necessarily think hypermasculinity is hypermasculinity, or what people call hypermasculinity. I don't think that's what hypermasculinity is. But yeah, that's what I noticed, man. You regain your innocence, you regain your integrity. You can't rightfully be labeled as a creep when you aren't doing creepy things. You know, can't no one call you out on anything when you, okay, I ain't sending you dick pics. You know, I ain't jerking all to you. I'm not throwing innuendos at you. I'm being a man. So when you're doing that, when you're living an honest life, all about your business, then you force everybody else to be honest. You force these women to be honest. Because you can definitively say to a woman, hey, listen, you can't play me like those other men. Okay? My approach is totally different. I don't care if I have sex with you or not. And what can they do? What can they do to you? You're not ruled by pussy. You're not weakened by pussy, and then you have the power. Okay? So if you abstain from porn, masturbation, and all that, you will regain your power, your innocence, and integrity. I could have said that in 30 seconds, but guess what? 17 minutes for you. But thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you got something out of this.